Hello everybody, welcome back for Circuit 2 action. We have Serral and ZhuGeLiang in the 2v2 February edition of the uThermal 2v2 circuit, going up against Clem and Trigger in the semi-finals. It's still a best of 3, only the finals are a best of 5. And of course we have seen Trigger and Clem play in the previous edition and get second place to Spirit of Max packs. But this time around they have to beat Serral and ZhuGeLiang to even make it to that finals, where we do not know yet who is waiting there. But pretty high chance that it will be Max packs and Spirit indeed. So let's see what happens here. Of course, double Zerg coming out of Team Finland, Team Blue here, as they have shown in the previous series versus Replicant and Tiger. But now they have to face off against a whole different caliber of player. I don't know if it's a whole different caliber of team, but definitely different caliber of player, especially Clem here. Ooh, they do the gas trick and it's still viable, or it's still legal. So, curious to see if other teams are going to pick that up. It does allow Clem to get a pretty fast CC, as he doesn't have to pay for his own geyser, doesn't have to take off the SCV to mine. So, gets a little bit of extra minerals into Clem's system early on. And we see double base from the Zergs, and no back natural being taken. So, we did see Serral go for the back natural into a Spire play in their game versus Replicant and Tiger. So, curious to see what they do this time around. Are they gonna go for some more mutts? Or is it going to be more like Roach Hydra focus? Are we gonna see Quick Hive? Or maybe the Quick Lurkers? Maybe it's like a double Roach play where you just have infinite Roaches? Maybe one guy goes for a lot of Ling Bane and the other one goes for like Roach Ravager? Maybe some emphasis on the Ravagers there? Let's see what happens. Reaper comes in together with Trigger's probe. They try to do some damage, but enough Lings do spawn over here. We see speed for Serral, but no speed for ZhuGeLiang. So, probably going to be seeing a Roach Warren out of ZhuGeLiang. Serral gets the back base there. And we see Stargate coming out of Trigger here. And he's also allowed to take the back base. Let's see if he goes for the Oracle, or does he want to go for Phoenix here? Maybe, yeah, wouldn't expect a Void Ray. We could see like a Tempest build. That would be kind of funny. But we do see one Oracle. And no gases yet on the Nat. The feeding has been changed, where I think you can only feed from 7 minutes onward, which I'm not sure if that is like the best. Maybe it's only... I don't remember actually. I feel a little bad for that, but if somebody knows when you can feed your opponent minerals and gas, do let us know in the comments below. I'll try to look it up after this game. Ooh, a couple Hellions here from Clem. Roast the Lings of Serral. And Serral is going for... Oh, no Hive, actually. Just 3-basing it up right now. Oracle comes into the base of ZhuGeLiang. He has 3 queens ready for this. He was prepared. Did they see the starboard, actually? Or Stargate? Hello, guys? Oh, yeah, I want to see their vision. Nope, they did not see it. Vision works a little different in 2v2. Oracle did end up getting 2 kills. Clem is being a little annoying with his Hellions, but there's multiple queens, or well, 2 players with their own set of queens to do the creep spread on this map, which can be mighty annoying. Trigger has another Oracle here, has stopped producing units from the Stargate after that, so only 2 Oracles and 2 Adepts to his name, and might be thinking about a 3rd Nexus and ostensibly a Forge and a Robo. So, Serral going for a little bit of a later Hive here, or a Lair, but he does have that 3rd base earlier than ZhuGeLiang. ZhuGeLiang is just 2-base roaching it up right now. He's making sure that he has forces so that he can actually defend all this BS from their opponents. And allows Serral to tech up a little more. Serral going for the Hydralisk Den. So this looks a little bit more like the build that Serral and ZhuGeLiang showed in game number 2 versus Replicant and Tiger. And Replicant and Tiger, of course, also Terran Protoss, so... Double drop from Clem going across the map. We see 1-1 for ZhuGeLiang coming out, so he's gonna just have those massively upgraded roaches. Do have Stim for Clem and Gateway Research done for Trigger. These oracles have been kind of sharking around trying to get something done. One of them did end up falling, so only one oracle remaining. Usually we see some defensive stasis wards, but Clem and Trigger identifying how passive their Zerg opponents are being. So they want to use it offensively, even using the oracle to get some vision on those creep tumors. And the double drop does run into 2 spore crawlers and 5 queens. Oh lordy lord. I think that's another pretty strong thing about Zerg, or double Zerg teams, is that if you connect your creep, you can have a lot of defensive queens all of a sudden. And instead of 3 queens, you have 6 queens defending against that, like, 1 first oracle. So you can really, if your oracles or your queens are in good position, you can get a quick snipe on it. Ooh, Serral loses his drone, doesn't get a 4th base. Maybe ZhuGeLiang will get a 4th base before Serral here. And let's see what Serral's doing. He's getting a Baneling Nest. He finally starts his Evo Chamber upgrades. Getting the 1-1, and he's getting Hydra range. We don't see a Infestation Pit. We don't see a Lurker Den as of yet. And ZhuGeLiang and Serral haven't really been on their opponent's side of the map as of yet. Which might be one of the weaknesses of Zerg. Because outside of, like, Zerglings, you don't really have anything to harass with until you go into that Hive Tech. And you start thinking about the Mutas, or you start thinking about the Roach move-outs. I mean, somebody might think about, like, burrow move infestors and go for, like, fungals into the worker lines. But that's just a very, very bad DT drop. And wow, Trigger already going up to Storm here. What does he have for an army? He has Immortals, couple Charge Zealots, and he's getting Storm and Clem. He's ready to deal with these roaches. He has tanks on the map, only producing them 1 by 1 though. And Serral and ZhuGeLiang are exploding in that supply department. And with the creep, they can really get big surrounds. And I think that this is the time when ZhuGeLiang and Serral are actually pretty strong. Do see a fleet beacon behind this for Trigger. Infestation Pit for both Zerg players coming out. And a look at ZhuGeLiang just slowly pulling Clem away from his tanks. Just delaying. Trigger is with the tanks though. And now that the tanks are in position, the Zergs are kind of being forced to move out here. A couple Banelings find their way on the wrong side of the curtain. And they do get shut down there. Ooh, a little bit of Ling Bane tries to go in. It's hard to control all these units as these tanks and the Mortals, well, the Bio as well, just shred all of those units that get slightly pulled out of position. Zealots in the back as well, doing some juicy damage. 1 Storm goes down, and these Roaches try to get it done. Oh, we see the Zerg come in from 2 sides. Decent flanker from ZhuGeLiang, but he's taken the full brunt of the Protoss Storms and now the tanks as well. But can they crush this? ZhuGeLiang almost out of units here on the right. And Serral actually retreating on the left here, letting his buddy sink and die. And that means that Clem and Trigger take this first game to the bank. And, well, that's just an Undercurrent specialty, really. If you get control of this middle area, if you get to set up these siege tanks, and neither of the Zerg player had the Hive to get the Viper, so we just needed to see like a 1, 2, 3 angle surround, and maybe even get some lings up here. But instead, they only got like a 2 flanks, basically. They did come from like the top left and the top right, but in the end, it felt like a big clump was over here. And ZhuGeLiang's, I think it was mostly ZhuGeLiang's army over here, really took the brunt of the hate, got shot by the tanks, by the Archons, and the Storms. And that just made it like almost no flank anymore. And the reinforcements just weren't really there. I was kind of expecting the Zerg to be able to deal with this, but maybe they should have been creep spreading a little bit more aggressively, scouting a bit more with the Zerglings. But if you look at the distance between how far their opponents had to move, if this was a 1v1 map, this would be terrible. Like, if your base is over here and your opponent's base over here, his army's probably sitting in front of it. He can just decide to move out. And you don't have any time to respond as the Zerg. So droning and making units becomes really difficult. Because what Zergs want to do is they like camp like one Zergling here, one Zergling here, one Zergling here. And then when they see a force move out, they're like, ah, I can't drone anymore, I have to make units now. But if you do that over here, he's literally already killing your base before the units are done. And worse, if you just made a round of drones, you're probably just dead. So for Zerg, I feel like these maps might just be a little small. They also just really let their opponents expand like mad. And were planning to just absorb. But they didn't like fully take advantage of it. I feel like if you're going to absorb, you need to take this base as well. And really strategically take the map. Like have like 2 spines here, 2 spines here. Maybe a spine over there, I don't know. Like just, the spines aren't really going to do anything, but more to envision where you have to have your army so that their army can't get into a good position. Because if these siege tanks are here, like this base is even more dead than it is now. Because they were posturing decently well, but you saw ZhuGeLiang, like, he was here on his own. Serral wasn't there. Also not ready to pounce either. And then Clem plus Trigger just kind of forced him back, and then all of a sudden, the siege tanks are already in position to hit your gold base, and they're gonna start forcing you to either abandon both of these bases and then give up a nice position for more siege tank harassment, or try and defend the base, which is gonna force both Zergs to just run in with their dudes. And you have to really, really communicate that well, and, well, if your creep isn't the best, which honestly, Trigger and Clem did a pretty good job of just stopping the creep, and you need to have creep at every angle, which is hard. That's difficult. We're going to see how they fare in game number 2. I hope that Serral and ZhuGeLiang manage to take a little bit more agency in the game, maybe do some slight aggression to kind of get some map control, or, well, get their army together faster, because this army just kind of looked like it didn't really have a plan on how we were going to deal with their siege tanks and storms. Except for just split and hope for the best. At least have amazing creep spread then, you know? Like, we need something from ZhuGeLiang and Serral. And we're going to hopefully see that. Game number 2. And for game number 2, we load up into Crimson Research Lab. Which we haven't seen as much, so we're going to look at it real quick. Shared main with a decently sized ramp. Shared natural with a really big ramp that leads into a pocket third that does have some rocks. And then you go out on the map, you get like shared, I guess, third bases, fourth bases, which have 1, 2, 3, 4 ramps into a gold base. So what I've been seeing from these 2v2 maps is that they kind of favor giving one player 2 bases and the other one 3 bases, which would be good if you play with a Zerg. But if you have double Zerg, that basically means one of them gets a nice base. And the other one... maybe you get a macro hatch, bro. Like... And we usually see that ZhuGeLiang goes for that 2-base roach lair tech style, where he's okay with having less larva. He makes roaches. Roaches are larva-efficient units. And then Serral usually takes that third base. Now let's see what happens here in game number 2. Are the Zergy boys gonna adapt? Or is Clem, together with his buddy Trigger here, going to kick them out of this tournament in 3rd, 4th place? Of course, the winner moves on to the grand final. And the Trigger Clem build comes into effect once again. Clem with the fast CC, maintaining some gas. Mining as well. You know, we've talked about it, the mineral injection, but this geyser represents. And the Reaper is going to come out. This probe by Trigger does the scouting thing. And the Zergs are just going to mine gas, get their naturals up, and let's see if both players are going to go for Zergling speed once again. See a little ping coming out on a potential third base. Let's see. Serral goes for speed and keeps mining gas. ZhuGeLiang pulled out of gas. It does have 100 gas, but it's not starting speed. So looks like they still have faith in their original plan and just try, or will try to do it better this time around. That sounds like a Serral strategy, if you ask me. Well, that's what a lot of StarCraft is about in the end. You still want to kind of hold on to the core idea that you had, but make some slight tweaks. Ooh, double queen. Shoo away this Reaper. This probe is patrolling around, and wow, ZhuGeLiang sends out the drone for a fast third. He's gonna get it down. Now, is Serral gonna take this base, or is he gonna 2-base? He's getting a fast lair, he's getting a fast gas, so this looks like Serral going for the Mutts. Or at least it's a 2-base lair. That is most likely going to be Mutas. Trigger is getting into this base. Doesn't see this hatchery as of yet. Does find a drone. But then gets taken down. And Trigger does see ZhuGeLiang's Roach Warren going down. Which I don't think he minds too much. Serral, is he about to get speed? Yes, he is. And this Reaper, the Clem Reaper, is gonna go down. What an annoying Reaper that is. Trigger does lose that one adept for a little bit of scouting information, but does now get the first Oracle. That does have a nice skin. Look at that boy. And a second Oracle is coming out. Starport started up for Clem. He's starting up Stim, and he's going for two racks, or like the 16 Marine double medevac drop build. So he's going to have 2 medevacs with 60 Marines with Stim flying across the map. Serral's taking a third now. And Trigger pings it out. That's a little late, huh, buddy? What's happening here? Lair here, almost done, and he scouts the lair, and he scouts the Spire as well. So the Spire is not going to be a surprise, and Trigger fires up the Phoenix production right away. Now, what do you do if you are Serral here? Are you going to make Corruptors? That would be interesting. Are you going to cancel this Spire? Or are you still going to make Mutas into a Protoss that has time to make Phoenix? He's even making a second Stargate to make sure that those Mutas are as hard countered as they possibly could be. I think if Serral had made a Roach Warren at all, he could start Roach Speed, and then they could do like a double attack. Because this Protoss is literally making Phoenix and nothing else, right? Suki units? Yeah, literally nothing else. That could be an angle, but it is a pretty big gamble. Because if your opponents get wind of it, that you are not, in fact, going to dump a bunch of gas and minerals into Mutas, then they might be ready for that attack. And Trigger does find out that the Spire has concluded, and we... Ooh! Corruptoren! The Corruptors are coming out. Now, the Corruptors can be pretty strong, as these Phoenix want to find value, and these medevacs as well. Wow. These Corruptors are going to spawn when these medevacs try to get in. If we have enough Roach, Ling, and Corruptor, we can completely shut this down. Oh, these Overlords are not happy to see all of these Marines run in and try to kill them. Ooh, poor ZhuGeLiang loses a lot of his supply cap, and the Corruptors are out, but the Marines, they don't want to see those Corruptors at all. Oh, and are these Corruptors fast enough? Oh my god, the medevacs and the Phoenix just fly away. The Phoenix actually take a couple shots from the Corruptors, and now the Corruptors are pushing across the map. I feel like we should see the Roaches and the Lings follow to make sure that these Marines die. But didn't quite happen. We do see a Lurker Den now for Serral together with a Hive. That is interesting. He could go into Broodlords as well with the Spire and Corruptors that he now does have. But Clem, he is being very active on the map right now. Corruptors, they might try to do a little bit of caustic spraying on this orbital command and try to take it down that way. Might try, or might force at least a liftoff from this orbital. Force a little bit of mining time lost, a little bit of repair money down the drain, and these Corruptors, as soon as there is one sign of danger, they even get a little pop shot on the medevac. Nice job. And they get out of there. So that also gives them information of where the army of Clem is right now, so that seems like a pretty nice move. If this was a Nexus, probably feels a little better. Although, I think you can repair a Nexus with SCVs. Oh, these Corruptors, they find the Phoenix, but they are on move command. Their low HP Corruptor does get taken down. No 4th base for Serral here. No way Jose. But also ZhuGeLiang is on 3 bases still. He's just going Roach, Hydra. He is getting a Hive as well. But both players do not seem to have any Vipers. I don't know if Vipers are good here, but this amount of Corruptors is going to lose to this amount of Phoenix. 13 Phoenix in the air. Feels bad, man. And now this Queen is also going to get taken down. We have a couple Lurkers to try and defend that ramp. That's going to be pretty nice. Would like to see this Spore unroot and build like 2 more, honestly. And the Lurkers do come out. 1 scan. All these Lurkers are going to get picked up, and then it's going to go from bad to worse. We do have a nice amount of Hydras here, though. And only one Siege Tank, as far as I can see. A lot of Ling Hydra Roach here, ready to defend. I think they're going to hold here if the Siege Tanks don't get too much value. I don't see any Viper started up. I'm a little surprised by that. We do have a Hive. Like, just get 1 Viper, maybe. Just for the yoinks, even for the Parasitic Bomb now. Ooh, the Lurkers get decent shots in, but the tanks are going to force this fight. The Marines, oh, they have to run away. Actually, the Reburrow, the clicks on the tanks, and now the Hydra and the Roach army do manage to take down all of that bio from the wow. I thought the Marines would be pretty good, but they only have 1-1. And it's very scary to run into those Lurkers, and the Lurker range did finish up. Kind of neglected to mention that. With the Lurker range, all of a sudden it becomes very hard to maneuver in the face of all of those Lurkers. We do see the double Spore. Oh, we don't see a scan come out. Okay, trigger. I was like, okay, if a scan comes down, all of these Lurkers are gonna go down and be out for the count. Oh, that's so many Phoenix. How many Phoenix are we up to? 24 Phoenix. More coming in, and more Stargates coming in as well, which means that at some point carriers are gonna join us on this field. ZhuGeLiang and Serral are staying alive here, but look at Clem and Trigger just maneuvering in between the bases of the Zergs. And now they run into this 3rd base of Serral. The Lurkers get picked up. Yeah, there comes the scan. Even a Liberator to really make it hurt. The drones have to run here. And the Marines are going to take down this base. Or are they? These Corruptors are fighting the Phoenix, but Phoenix, good unit in 2v2. Ooh, look at this Liberator. He's just getting kill after kill. 9 kills on the Liberator. Nice Blinding Cloud from ZhuGeLiang. It means that the tanks go down, but if I look at the supply, Serral is a sad, sad boy. And he might be a phenom, but he's also just poor as hell right now. ZhuGeLiang could maybe feed him a little bit of money. Let's see how many drones he's up to. 50 drones, yeah. ZhuGeLiang gives him like 1k minerals. Boom. What's that, 20 drones? That would be pretty nice. But, oh, and behind this, Clem and Trigger are just mass expanding. Protoss is just going for the Stargate units. Very, very cool. Oh, this tank's pretty sad. Apparently, the SimCity by Clem is making these tanks not very useful, and still, they are crushing it no matter what. Oh my god, the Phoenix from Trigger come in. 31 Phoenix on the map right now. Serral's already down in the dumpster, and it's just getting worse. I think we need to buff Spores, give them AoE. Like, literally only the place that, like, kind of like, Serral has to try and defend this base as well, but he can't do it. Clem just rushes in with all of his Marines, even as ghosts to boot, and just gets run over. Lurkers die, and the base dies. We do see Vipers here. Parasitic Bomb does go down, but it doesn't seem to be enough. Doesn't do damage fast enough. And the Hydras here just get shredded by both the Phoenix and the Marines on the ground. And the double Zerg force just gets completely rolled by Bio Phoenix right now. And at the back of that, we see 5 Tempest in the works, but it doesn't even come to our screens, because Trigger and Clem are already victorious in this game number 2, taking this best of 3 2-0 pretty convincingly, showing us that there might be a flaw in how ZhuGeLiang and Serral are playing their double Zerg style, because they are just planning to absorb, let Serral tech up, get a good economy, and let ZhuGeLiang sit on a more Roach, Hydra, style army. So more like techie, larva-efficient army that is almost always ready to fight. He allows Serral to make the drones first, and then he makes them after. This game, they probably both didn't really like explode into the drones until Serral was able to like get his tech going. But I mean, pretty awkward to get the Spire scouted and then be like, well, in 2v2, the Protoss can just not make any ground units and just go straight into Phoenix, and he'll be fine. Look at all of these cannons. Is actually quite ridiculous. Protoss, especially with Terran, I feel like is super good. And these 2 tanks, dude, didn't even join the game. It's not quite Jaedong levels of getting units in the back of your base, but they didn't even need those tanks to win this game, to roll their Zerg opponents, and it's a tale as old as time that Overlords die versus Protoss air units. It happened in Brood War, and it happens in StarCraft 2, 2v2 as well. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this cast. Hope you enjoyed the StarCraft. And if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. More 2v2 replays are coming your way. I have, I think, 4 more games? I think so, 3 or 4. Well, anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.